Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I shall
Good
start
morning,
the class.
sir.
Okay. Today our subject will be on contract and risk management. Okay. Why in any job there is always a risk involved, right? Be it safety, be it contract management, be it the material you order for your construction, for your production, and also you may encounter your customer, right? Complain about quality, and also like export. There is a problem in the export. That means there is a supply chain problem in that horizon, right? So we are very clear. Okay, in fact, in everything you do, there is always the risk. All right. In terms of contract, in terms of any other thing. Your personal life also, there is a contract. There is a so-called a risk. Take for example, you just got married. There is a high risk or high chances that you may argue with your husband. Then both parties not happy, they end up divorced. There are many cases in the world, not only in Singapore. All right. I've seen people get married this month, next month they divorce. Okay, one of my nephew, my wife's side nephew, is a typical example. They register for marriage, they prepare for their marriage, they buy the house already, all done already. Then 1 month later, they divorce. Okay? And that is a risk that you are involved. So do me and myself. At this age, I married to my wife for 40 years. Okay, there's a risk of argument, there's a risk of separation, there's a risk of so-called money politics between me and my wife. Okay, how much I have, how much he has, he don't want to tell me. I have whatever I have, I show it to her. So I feel that that's not safe, not proper for me, right? So nowadays, I don't tell her whatever I earn. I keep quiet. There's also a risk. Okay, you come into Singapore, you work, you want to study, right? And today, Ministry of Manpower, they come out with a circular said that those students come on study, they cannot work full time. They get caught, they will be charged and fined and sent back to their original country. Okay? So you can see that whatever you do, there is a risk. So in construction project also, we have a risk, right? So let's look at the more detail on this risk management, okay? So the learning outcome will be carry out risk assessment with support, right? Okay. Why do we need to carry out risk assessment before starting a physical activity? Like construction site, like adaptation and alteration project, A&A lah, you call it, interior decoration, interior work. Why do you think the risk should be reviewed? Of course, today risk doesn't happen the same thing as tomorrow or 1 week later or 1 month later. Okay, this is normal. Okay, we are living in a world that is constantly changing, constantly so-called every day there is a lot of chaotic. Look at Ukraine and Russia. Okay, past week they have been developing a lot of things in Russia and Ukraine. Okay, now they say that Ukraine bombed their own city, create a false alarm to the European country, to USA. All right. Then today also, they have this balloon, okay, in US airspace. Why? Because this is sent by China. So the US accused China spying on the US territory, right? So there is also a risk in that aspect. So you can see that why do we need to carry out risk before starting activity? Okay, construction example. When you want to do the carry out the risk, you know that okay, before you start work, in construction, every morning, based on the regulation and law, we stated that we need, right, to carry out in safety and risk management. We need to carry out what? Risk management within the two-board meeting. That means every day you go and call the general worker, the skill worker, the project engineer together as a team. We discuss about the possibility of risk involved, right? And okay, and how to prevent such risks from happening in the work site, right? For example, for you do the production, also they have a risk of production, the equipment failure, etc., etc. All right. So you have to check and confirm that everything is okay before you start the physical activity. So at least you are assured that at least 90% issue will not happen during the production, during the construction process. All right. Why we need to review risk assessment? As I said just now, situation every day changes. Okay, same as human. Human also every day change. The mood of you today and tomorrow or yesterday is very different. Okay, we are always on the move, and economic is changing. The world is changing. Everything is changing. Today you wake up, compared to yesterday, you are healthy, happy. Today you wake up, you got headache, you got diarrhea, that sort of thing happening, and you fall sick, So you must constantly review, okay, your risk assessment in the workplace, in office, in anything that you do, even your personal life, you have to review. Today you wake up, hey, what should I do today to make a family happy? Rather than you wake up, sulky face, show your children, show your parents, show your husband, then show your wife, then the situation may not be right. Okay, so you review the risk assessment, why you become so moody, then you come up with countermeasure to reduce your moodiness in the family, so your family can live happily. Okay, what do you think risk assessment should be reviewed? As I said, consequences, situation in the work environment, in office, in family can change overnight. You never know. All right. So we live in a world of risk, and the risk that you identify, you must find a way to reduce the risk to as low as you can, so that this thing will not happen to you, to your family, to your workplace. And it's a very important thing. Every day you wake up, you have to, for your cases, I mean, you all, maybe some of you are in Hinduism. Like yesterday, Taipusam, right? In this Waterloo Street, the Seligi Road there, I was there at the Newton's school. So evening time, I saw they carry the kabaddi, all this thing. Yesterday is this week. Then today, yesterday you carry kabaddi, maybe you commit some sin. Today you wake up, your body all pain, because God don't want to protect you. You commit a sin. So before you carry the kabaddi, you must ask yourself, are you sinful? Do you think about other things before you can carry the kabaddi, right? So these are some kind of a risk assessment you have to do, all right? So in terms of risk, every day there is a risk. You cannot say that every day you are happy. You never know. At that moment, something happened, you will be very angry, very upset or whatever. Okay. Take note. So 5 simple steps of identifying the risk involved, the hazard involved that may cause harm to you, to your family, all right, or to your colleague. So first thing is identify the hazard. Take for example, like as a student, okay. So your friend in Singapore, he said that his company working there, he need a temporary manpower. So the manpower he said that you tell him, hey, can you work now for maybe 3 hours in my factory to resolve some issue, right? So for you, your friend asks you to do 3 hours, maybe about $60 you earn. Then you think about it, hey, good money, 3 hours only. I earn $60. $60 can spend maybe 1 week of my daily expenses. So if I earn this $60, 1 week, I no need to worry about my spending. So you say, okay, I want to do. Then you decide, I have to identify my hazard, right? So the hazard of doing the job for 3 hours, what is the hazard? What are the potential hazards you see? Okay, so in the workplace, you go to your friend there and work, people may identify you as a student. You are not a work permit holder. You are student pass, right? So you end up being a student pass. The potential is people will report you to the police or Ministry of Manpower, and your license will be revoked to study in Singapore. That's one hazard that you can see potentially happen. Okay. Another one is you work 3 hours there, you are happily work, but what happened? You get injured, then you're hospitalized. Does my insurance cover? Because you are working illegally, the insurance will not cover. So you have to think, wow, for this potential hazard that I can see. So you decide who might be harmed and how. Will I be harmed? Will somebody sabotage me and report to the Ministry of Manpower or police? Should I take the job? $60, is it worth it? Right, example lah. So you tell yourself, better don't. You discuss with your family, your husband, your wife. You said, okay, I come to Singapore is to study, to get my advanced postgraduate diploma. I don't want to take the unnecessary risk. Okay, you may end up like that decision. Then you reject your friend. If you don't reject, let's say you accept the job, right? So how to prevent this type of people reporting the accident or incident happen to you? So you have to be do a risk assessment of yourself. What type of activity that you do can cause injury? And when you work in that factory, you keep quiet. You become very quiet and don't talk to people. Just finish the 3-hour job. Hopefully, no one notices that you are a student, right? So all these things you have to decide. Then you evaluate the risk and decide on the precaution. Okay, which I tell you. Okay, if there's no detect, after 3 hours, finish the job, you get the money, then you're happy that whatever you think of the risk assessment, you have done it for yourself and nobody know, and take the money, happily go back. Okay, and enjoy your good lunch or dinner. Right. So this is where a simple analysis of hazard will lead to you whether you do want to do the job or not. Right. So if you look at the document practice, you must also, after analyzing, you come up with the evaluation of risk and how to prevent this risk from happening in your workplace or for your own personal safety. So you record down the finding and implement them. Okay, let's say you have a group of worker under you, then you have to implement and tell them the risk and the hazard involved. Okay, and everybody follow according to your instruction. And eventually you review the risk assessment and update if necessary. So that means to review whatever you tell them, they implement, they do the work. After end of the day, you review the assessment. Okay, my assessment and my precaution or control measure already carried out by the people. So far, there is no accident, very good. So you record down in your risk assessment report. Okay? And this practice, the record you record down, it can be used, okay, for future where you have this type of activity happening in your company, right? Understand what I mean? Okay, or are you still in a sleeping mood? Hello.
Yes, sir.
So this is a chart, simple explanatory chart. Okay, for you, you go and read yourself. Okay, I don't want to explain. I already explained more than enough. Okay, the risk metrics, they will tell you, okay, if you evaluate the risk is on the red area, you cannot do the job. Then you have to bring down to acceptable risk. All right, there's a green color. So in actual work in Singapore, the talk about safety and health, we have this risk assessment. Okay, all the company have been doing that when they are certified as a B-Safe Level 3 company by the Occupational Safety Health Department in Ministry of Manpower. Okay. Okay, even if it's a risk rating of very high, that means 25. 25, that means basically under the rules, you cannot do any job. You have to stop and think about it, how to reduce from 25 to less than 6. Okay, the rating, the risk rating. So risk rating in Singapore practice is, in terms of safety and health, is maximum you can go up to 6. You have to rate it lower so that you can perform the job in terms of the risk assessment procedure. All right. So think about what you can do to reduce the risk. If it cannot be reduced, don't do. Okay. Example, risk rating 25 is very high. In this risk rating 25, we call it what do you call? Risk probability number. Okay, risk probability number. This is the number that, based on the chart just now I show you, this chart, okay, is in the unacceptable range. So in unacceptable range, you say here that you cannot do the job. You have to revise the work procedure. You have to revise the training for the worker. They must understand whatever thing you tell them, and you instruct them. And from this analysis of the new job procedure, from your understanding of the risk level, you can safely bring down to maybe 6 or 5. Then the manager will agree. Then the manager allow you to carry out the work. This is what happening in Singapore, the safety and health environment. Okay, most company practice this way. Okay, if not, accident happen, the director will go jail and fine 200,000. Okay, and the fine is, if you happen 2-3 times one month, the director most likely will go jail, at least 3 months jail. Okay. So type of risk, how can we categorize and sort risk depend on your company forecast and your company determination of the risk level and what sort of risk. Okay, take for example, different industry, different risk level. Office, not much of risk, but you operate a construction site with heavy machinery, yes, the risk factor is very high. So it all depends on your company, what activity that you do. Okay. Equipment hazard, what are they? How can they be participated or protected? Environment hazard, how can risk be minimized, etc. Okay, so remember, you use elimination, reduce, and protect. So for example, I give you an example like equipment hazard. Right? You know that operating this production equipment, there's certain exposure of risk to the operator. So how do you prevent that? So you can install interlock system. safety system, procedure system to make sure that the production process is safe for the operator. Okay, environment hazard like weather, all these things, you can't prevent. This is a natural occurrence, you can't do anything. But you can do is what? When there is a heavy rain, you are working in the field, okay, definitely you say, okay, heavy rain. What is the potential risk? Your people work under heavy rain, say they are provided with raincoat, etc. The potential risk is what? Struck by lightning, okay? And the road, the space area you work, because of rain, because the floor is all very muddy, so the tendency of you trip and fall is very high. So do you want this thing to happen? Because once the worker or the engineer fall, he will have a severe injury. We do not know, right? And people, how to prevent you from get accident? Let's say you're operating an equipment, then of course you have to wear personal protective equipment like glove, face shield, ear muff, etc., etc. Okay, so very important thing when you talk about risk, if you can, the piece of job that is high risk, you don't do. You eliminate the job. Okay, you improve the process, improve the equipment safety standard, then the risk will be reduced, and finally protect the people around that equipment you are operating. Okay. Example, we already talked about it. Okay. Now do it. Think about the physical activity that you are involved in. Create a mind map of hazard. Okay, this one you can practice your own. Next to hazard right now, who can be harmed, etc. All right. Then the risk factor, risk rating, you can determine 1 to 25 according to the charge. Okay. For the hazard that the risk rating judgment call, right? Or unacceptable risk, you think about how to eliminate, reduce, and protect. Complete the risk assessment sheet for the hazard. Then you brief the people or doing this job, what are the precautionary measures you need to take, like providing PPE, like follow the work instruction, don't anyhow do things, all this sort of thing. And more important thing is you don't be complacent. Doesn't mean that you do this job for 10 years, you are very confident. No, you have to follow the instruction, follow properly, and guide the junior if you are a senior person. Okay, so this is what you should do, and this is what in Singapore, most of the safety environment they are doing. Okay. Okay, risk management definition a little bit here. Okay, risk management is the identification. Okay, so you identify what are hazard. You measure the hazard in terms of RPM number. That means risk probability number. Okay, 25, 16, 10, 8, 6, 3, and control the risk that you have identified. Okay, make sure that your life is protected. The property that you operate, that means the machine is workable. Okay, and there is always profit when the thing don't have breakdown or have any accident. Okay, every stage of construction process from initial investment, appraisal to the construction site, use of facility is subject to risk for all parties involved. A structural risk management comprises of identification, analysis, response strategy to all significant project risks with the aim of reducing the opportunity for and consequences of loss. All right. So you can see that risk management is basically to prevent accident happen to your employee. That's all. So how are you going to do it? You have to sit down and discuss and come out a better way of managing the process, understanding the equipment safety so that you can operate safely. All right. So risk management in our life, in today's life, is very consistent, very much involved in all construction industry. Okay. So this one, I leave it to you to practice. Okay. Take any risk situation. For example, risk exposure. How are you going to respond when you identify this? Okay. So you consider the risk exposure if something happened, the extent of loss and gain, numerical value of risk, number, rational assessment, and objective property. So this will be respond by individual or group decision making, right? So more importantly is you must, okay, understand what is risk management all about. If you can't understand, you can't do this job, okay? Okay, risk, you can see here, exposure and perception, right? So and attitude. So your risk outcome will be whether it's not a risk, and the risk whether it's adverse, that it will happen, and risk seeking. All right, then you look at the whole situation, whether the risk is high or low. All right, so the perception and all these risks, you are subjected to subjective thinking, intuition, judgment, etc. Okay, so you look at all these things, it's all depend on the person who assess the risk of the workplace in terms of their experience, in terms of their technical knowledge, in terms of their behavior and their mind thinking, or whether they are profit-oriented or safety-oriented. So safety-oriented people, they do very detailed, but profit-oriented, they just do for the sake of doing, that's all. Okay, so the final risk response to resolve the risk is based on the individual character, the culture of the company. Okay, not only personal, but cultural perspective of all the employee, the managing director, the general manager, how they think about, how they respond, okay, to the risk involved. Okay, their behavior play a very important part to the company risk profile. The risk could be very low because they do whatever thing they can do to prevent such thing from happening. Okay. So you can see all these things. This one I leave it to you. Okay, people and risk. Risk taking high, what will happen? Okay, your creativity, you want to stay in where? Practical, innovative, synthesizer, or planner, right? Of course, you have to somewhere in between, all right? You too much of safety, you become a dreamer. Okay, you dream this, dream that, no use. But you must be a practical. So in that sense, practicality is very important. Okay. And the challenge is when the risk is high, okay, you must find way to bring down to the low side. All right. So if you are practical, very creative, you have to analyze the whole situation in terms of technical experience, in terms of knowledge, in terms of previous experience, then you can reduce the risk into a low area that will not happen the accident. That means to say repeater is a people who have good experience, and they will advise the people, okay, the leader, how to do the job, and in such a way they have repeated experience, the accident will not happen. All right, take note. Construction people and same, right? So you can see that in terms of construction, right, the contractor is high. Like creativity can be developer, can be architect and consulting. Okay, consulting people, they are have good idea, but sometimes their practical idea is not workable in the construction side. So you need to find somebody with a lot of experience, especially the contractors, okay, and with the M&E contractor as well. So they know, okay, what to do, how to do. If they have many years experience, you can guide the people or guide your company people, and finally you achieve at a low risk. Then your accident and incident will not happen. Okay. Okay, risk management is not just a rational and logical process. You must have your knowledge before you can do the job, right? Risk-taking of project, three-phase approach for client perspective, right? Quality, cost, and time. Establishing of PCQ, okay? Consequence of failure to meet target, and risk characteristic of a project delivery or deliverer, right? So take note of this. Okay, whenever you do, as I said just early on, okay, you must take care of cost, take care of the time and the quality objective that your company established, so that eventually you still can control the risk, no injury, and your project can deliver to meet the company target. Oh. Okay. So your I stop for a while. Can all of you show your face? Because Nanyang asked me to take a picture of you all, the attendants. Okay, please show all your face so that I can take picture. There's about 18 of you. I want to count. The instruction come from the Nanyang. No choice. Bear with it for about maybe 5 minutes. Okay, I need to take picture. Yeah, hang on. Another one. Oh, good. So you can see all about 18 of you, excluding me. Oh, right. So thank you very much. Shall I continue the class? Right. Today the paper a bit longer, the slide a bit longer, because I have to go through this. Or you want to stop halfway, you tell me, then tomorrow I may not be. Tomorrow I will check with this who, Misma. Because tomorrow morning I have a meeting with some of the institution from Canada. It's coming down to new Peace Center there. So myself, Misma, and Vinesh will meet the people from Canada. So it's a Canadian people we are meeting to discuss about education. All right. I'll be there morning before 10 a.m. So meeting time is at 10 a.m. Oh. Okay. So tomorrow I may postpone. Today I will send some assignment to Misma, and Misma forward to you. Okay. So come to this primary business activity, right? So what it say here, the outcome will be expectation. That means the outcome that you want to meet the organization, the customer expectation, right? Customer see, oh, your outcome meet my expectation. So I'm happy. I will pay you everything that I owe you for the project. All right. So right from the start, okay, when you forecast about time, cost, and quality objective, you must identify what are the jobs that you're supposed to do in this project. You must identify what are the risk factors, what are the risks of each activity. Okay, you can analyze this through your work breakdown structure. From the work breakdown structure, you can see every job that you do, what is the risk factor, how are you going to prevent all these things? So the safety professional will come in to analyze, to check, to recommend the measure to be taken so that when the project run, will not have any issue on safety and health problem. Okay, so this is very important end of the day. And throughout the project, as you can see, throughout the project, there must be a continuously assessment of the risk, the health, safety, and everything, right? So you can identify along the way, you take measure to reduce the risk, and eventually you meet your objective. That means smooth adaptation and strategic fit. Okay, then everybody is happy. Your client, your boss, you people, because after doing the job, you got no incident, accident, so everybody is happy. Then you collect your money, your salary, and everybody say goodbye. Thank you very much. Okay. So evaluating process is 3 phases. So as I said, establish the objective, all these things. This one I already told you already. Okay. So example, assess the risk profile of the project. Okay. This one will be one of your assignment. I will give you a case study, then you assess the risk. So this one is assessing of risk. Okay. Next. Okay, you read your units 4 and 6, then you will know what it's all about. Okay. This one is just an example. We are not touching on it. Okay, characteristic of construction project in terms of risk. 4 categories when uncertainty exists. For example, this book writer, Watts and Chapman, right? The following is a brief summation of areas that might be considered as a source of uncertainty, risk in each of the 4 categories. You should consult the paper on this person writer, Transforming Project Management into Project Uncertainty. Okay. So basis of estimate of time, cost, and objective. Is it a sign? We don't care about sign or art. As long as you finish the job, you do it properly, thing will not happen. Okay. Quality, completeness of data, of course, all these things is a QS job. So the estimator also must have certain years of experience before you can do the planning for the whole job. Because simple job you plan 20 days, but very difficult job, he said, okay, this one take 5 days finish. It's not possible, right? So the person must have the knowledge, ability, and experience doing the estimation of the schedule of the time. Okay. Okay, delivery, and then you have to talk about raw material delivery, right? How you make use of the raw material, the quality of it, when to check, and what are the costs to pay. All right, all this. So project objective same, right? After you assess the whole project, then you say, okay, I have a project objective, can meet this goal. Our profit margin will be around 10% of the total project cost. Okay, example. Okay, so relationship between project party and project organization within the organization of the contractor. You have to think about how each person role, that means your job description prepared by the HR, okay, HR department. Perception of role, of course, HR. Then how to establish a communication network among the project people, the worker level, the supervisor level, the engineer level, the project manager, up to the project director. Okay, and each party, for example, the engineer, civil engineer, his capability of doing what? He's only concerned about civil engineering. Then all the civil engineering have to be directed to this group of people. Coordination is a project manager, project engineer do the control, right? So you can see that to effectively run the project, you must have this type of resources. in order to manage a project successfully. Okay. So Rhys profile, as you can see here, give you some example. It's from UK one. Okay. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, project life cycle is defined according to British Standard 6061, 6079 Part 1, as the sequential phases through which a project passes to reach its objective. That means to say, okay, project life cycle is from the start, you have nothing. After you develop this final project output, you have to create, okay, individual step. What are the things to do? Okay, reach the project objective. So this from start to end, this is called the objective, and this is the whole project life cycle. Okay, this is eventually you look at project life cycle is followed by the S curve, because in the beginning it's very tough for you because you have to think about the whole construction project. What are the things to do, who to involve at the initial state? You have a lot of headache because you haven't resolved what is the responsibility of each party and discuss until finally finalize. So finalize, you plot the S curve, you can see. All right. So eventually the beginning stage is the toughest stage for the project manager, project director, and the people. Right. After you iron out everything, everyone know its responsibility, okay, and role of the project team. They will carry out the job according to what been agreed, and slowly they bump up the project time, okay, cost also. So they will reach a peak where maximum so-called construction activity happening in the work site. So from there, after a few months, it will taper down because all the projects have been completed, have been analyzed of risk and etc. All the measures have been taken. So there is no accident, then the activity go down because the project is coming to an end. This is where, when the project ends, there will be a so-called auditor check about the completion of the building, completion of the project, meet the client so-called technical specification. Once they meet, they say, okay, project finished, end, sign off. Then your contractor company will collect the money and everybody is happy. So this is what you project life cycle. Take our human, for example. Your project life cycle start when? As a human. You start the day that you are born onto this world. Okay? Through the life cycle, when you are young, you go through feeding of milk, etc. Then as you grow up, you go and expose yourself to school life. Then you grow up, you learn the culture of your family, your relative, how they behave, and anything on that perspective. And when you grow, come to adult, okay, you finish your degree, you go and start working. And after working for several years, you earn the money. As the time go by, you are getting older, same as me. Like me, I'm older. You cannot find job. You retire at home, waiting to go with the Lord. And waiting to die. That's all. That is your life cycle. Human life cycle is like that. So you can see very clearly it's project life cycle, or PLC, is the same as a project. It's the same as human. We also have life cycle. Our life cycle is only maybe up to the age of, let's say you are very good, very strong, and very healthy. You can live until 90 years old, or 95, or 100 years old, right? Same, okay? So with construction, within construction, the Royal Institute of Architects, okay, there, RIBA, plan of work is one of the widely recognized project work framework in UK. So in Singapore, we have this project management institute, teach people how to manage and do the planning of a project. All right, not only in UK, everywhere. In Singapore, the construction project, they are managed and developed by a master plan, master schedule, tell the people what are the things to do throughout the whole project life cycle. For example, the project life cycle lasts 25 years, 24 months. Okay, every month there is activity. The master schedule will show. Then you have, as a project engineer, you look at the schedule. This month you must do this, do this, do that. All right. So the project manager or engineer must plan such a way that everything fall through the whole time schedule, the safety requirement, etc. So throughout the whole project, in a construction industry, we follow the master schedule, okay, or the master plan. Okay, whether it's petrochemical, whether it's a production factory or construction of a building, etc. Okay, these are all standard way in today's world. Okay, no more like last time our parents do the project work. Oh, okay, tomorrow I don't do this one. The next day I do this one, but not record anything. That's not the way now. Okay. Okay, more recently, other form of procurement, okay, all these things will come in. So procurement activity now is called a supply chain management. So you must know when to order, what to order, what are the specifications you to order, how to check on the seller material that meet your requirement. All these can be computerized system. Okay, they call it material resource planning, MRP. Okay. So partnering, there are many types of partnering. Sometimes the BTO, or example, I do design construction. Some companies say, okay, I want only construction. Some companies, I want to do design. I don't do construction. So different category of partnership in the construction site there is. Okay. Okay, project life cycle, again, rethinking of construction in UK are much emphasized, have been more collaborative approaches, all right? So this is normal. In Singapore, we also practice this way, okay? Collaborative approach. In education, we also do this way, okay? Like you run a private school, you go and collaborate with a UK university to bring your university program. It's the same, okay? The whole essential thing is the same. It's only the description of each job is different only, that's all. But the process, the system is all the same. Okay? Okay, comparison, various project life cycle framework show that the timing and responsibility for the various design construction activity involved may vary. Okay? However, fundamentally, they all exhibit a system, a number of common features. We see the project go through from strategic definition phase, followed by tactical delivery, and eventually there's one more word, operation. Okay, tactical delivery is a planning the thing, but the actual doing is an operation management. Right? So you can see that, as I just now I said, project life cycle is the same in everything you do. It's a common feature. Okay, whether you are doing a construction activity, shipbuilding is the same. Whether you are as a human, right, there is a so-called a common feature like husband and wife, they just married. Okay, there is a common feature that they live together. First year, 6 months, maybe cannot adapt to each other because each character different. During the dating, all very good. But when actual married live together, they have a lot of problem, and they have to adjust until there is a common feature between two of you. Then you plan to have children, then you plan to have a big house, and you concentrate on your career. And finally, you retire with a house, with the children, with grandchildren. Right? This is a phase that we humans go through. Same as project also. All right? Everything to do, there is a cycle. Okay? So the cycle will never end. In ISO, we call it PDCA cycle. Okay? Plan, do, check, and action. Right? So it's the same. Okay, you try to bring your mind to what you have studied in your university day. It's all the same. You talk about mechanical engineering, it's the same so-called common feature, electrical engineering. You talk about common feature, it's also chemical engineering, the same. Okay, when you want to start a chemical plant, what are the processes? When you want to start a mechanical work, what are the processes? It's the same. The feature, the common practices is the same. All right. I have do this analysis years ago when I was working as an engineering manager. So for me, engineering manager, I look at safety, I look at mechanical engineering, I look at chemical engineering, I look at electrical and control system engineering. So all these things I merge together. I working in a petrochemical industry. We have all sort of engineering perspective, even civil engineering. So I look at everything the same. The common feature is there. Okay, so that's why the Project Management Institute in USA, they form up this PMI. So the PMI tell you the whole project cycle is the same. The common feature is all the same. Okay. Oh, you can see here is life cycle is almost there. Everything is all there. Oh, from which standard BS, RIBA, this one Association of Project, PM Box. All right, all the same. This one I don't know which name. Sierra. Okay, all these are UK one. Okay. So I leave it to you. The question: VM, RM, and project life cycle. A business project or construction project has earlier conception, right? The project is essential. A recognition by the client of the need to make investment for a return. Definitely, okay? If not, what for you build a project? Usually to satisfy some perceived business objective or changing service level within the organization. Okay, that's why I earlier said, things happen today may not be the same as tomorrow. Okay, every day there is changes. So every day you age by 1 day or 24 hours, you get older by 24 hours. So your mind also grow older by 24 hours. But your mind is still the same as yesterday, that is no good. You must learn something from yesterday, and today you become a better person. All right. So take note of that. Because end of the day, if we cannot change, all right, then what is the use of being a human being? Okay. Every day you are happy with what you finish with your 3 meals, that's all. No, there are other things more important than that. Okay. So like me like that, now I'm semi-retirement, I'm teaching only. Every day I think of way to express myself better in front of the student. Okay, so that the student can understand what I say. Or this is my so-called objective in teaching line. Okay, I got other job like electrical engineering, right? I got safety training also. Okay, so I have to think in terms of what I want to do and what should I do to come up with a project life cycle. So like me, I say, okay, now I will say 90% involved in teaching. I will teach until 75 years old. Right? That's my target. So now 65 to 75, 10 years. So 10 years, what should I learn beside this new subject? And the next one, I learned somebody asking me to teach what? Electrical vehicle, because I have electrical and control system knowledge. And they also asked me to teach robotic technology, not in Nanyang, in other school. Okay, I'm thinking about it, how to do it. The basic fundamental detail of electrical engineering, I have knowledge. The control system, I also have knowledge. But how do I apply that knowledge that can transfer effectively to the student? This is my headache point now. Okay, so this is a project life cycle which I see myself in future. Okay, So you can see value management, it is the only point at which decision to build is made. It will become a construction project. Okay, that means to say you tender the job, you start planning for the building. That is where the project cycle start. Okay, the procurement of construction project then evolve by established function of the build function. Build asset will provide and form it will take through sketch and detailed design. In this way, project move from strategic to tactical and finally to operation. That means to do the work outside. Right? So important thing is your strategic point. That means strategic point is the time where your managing director, your director think about how to perform this job, how to get the necessary manpower, how to get the knowledge, okay, to construct this project so that everything is smooth. So after you think about it, what is the objective of this project? What is the profit margin? Then you say, okay, this is my objective. And your tactical is it, I want this construction site to be as safe as ever. So your tactical team, the planner will think about how to be safe. Right? So to be safe is your engineering perspective. You have to look at it more detailed, how to get the material up to construction and the process of doing the construction. That is the operational technique that you want to bring up to the construction field, right? So all these things you have to plan carefully. Then you come up with the master plan and sub plan. Then you roll out the job in the schedule. Then people will see it and you try to explain to them. Everyone will follow through. Okay. So as you can see, project life cycle, investment, appraisal. This is a strategic way project brief, and the construction will be all the staff project engineer, project manager, etc. Okay. So breaking the project down into strategic and tactical phase constitute a project life cycle, both BM and RM, to have a role throughout their relative important in contributing. All right. So in terms of money, in terms of result, in terms of safety, this is one of the way to carry out the job. Okay. Generally, PM is a dominant discipline. Okay. RM later and explain the following. Right. So value management is very important because end of the day, when any project you start off, you must make a profit. If not, no point in running. Okay. Right. So VE is a part of VM. It consists of several specific aspects relating to design construction of the technical solution and will be practiced at the technical phase. Right. So you see here the question: at what point does business project become a construction project? After your strategic decision by the top management, the strategic decision is the cost of the project, the profit margin, etc., and the time they given to you and the quality standard you want. After the management decided this is my strategic objective, then from that objective you carry out into the tactical objective that you want to construct based on the strategic point. From that point, you can develop your strategic so-called plan in such a way that you meet the strategic goal. Okay, from you develop your tactical plan already, you issue out, it become an operational plan. So operational plan involve procedure, process, quality check, everything. So the whole construction process can safely with all the relevant information within strategic, within tactical, within operational. Okay. So you can see all this. All right. So a lot of things to do when you do a project. Let's say you are a project director, you have to think all these things. Many years ago, I was given a project of US 50 million to manage a project. 50, not 15. When doing the planning, planning the strategic plan and the tactical plan, I work with my Japanese boss. Take me 6 months. Okay, every day got headache. Every day talk about all this project until I get fed up. And Japanese style management, they want to consider until there's nothing to consider, then they say okay. But for American and Europe company, no. They find it feasible as long as there is a chances of success, very high chance they will go ahead. But Japanese, they will think of this, think of that, and they will every time tell me what, consider. I will consider. Then the consideration take about 3 months later, then they come to me. So you can see that working different national, different way of doing things. Singapore then do the project is as long as feasible, can make money, go ahead and do. Don't waste time. Don't waste time discussing about risk assessment, safety, all this. This will be naturally developed. There's a safety officer that will develop this during the operational aspect of the project. You don't consider all these things, right? That's why a lot of companies in Singapore, they never have a budget for safety management. They always wait until the operation start, then they consider the budget. By the time, too late already. And if there's an accident, then your company will have a heavy fine. Okay? And this is a few months, last year already like that. That's why the accident rate in Singapore is very high. And today, the government tried to change the perception of the director. Okay? To tell them, plan before you do. Consideration. Okay? Take note. So here you can see VM and RM together combined. Okay, relationship between VM and RM in the project cycle. VM and RM are said to be two sides of the same coin. They are interrelated activity that should be carried out in parallel. In practice, VM activity carried out first to determine what is that constitute a value to the business from delivery to the end, okay, of the project. As risk is inherent by the product or available project option, it follow the project and VM will help it shape it. All right. So VM is a value and management. That means to say you have the money to shape the outcome of the project. Doesn't mean that you have the manpower can do. No. Okay. You need the money, need the budget to run the project. So your budget is very squeezed. Then you give up certain thing that is beyond your control. Then accident will happen. Okay. So major risks at the outset stem from not properly scoping or defining the project. Precisely what VM is intended to address. All right. So value management is very important. Every part of it, there is a value. So you, as a planner, okay, as a scheduler, you have to think about all these things. In short, VM have a major role at the early stage of the project, particularly the strategic phase, okay? While RM, major role is a later stage, okay? Which I explained just now, right? VM is very important in the beginning to decide the cost of the project, how much money to spend. You don't halfway go through the day, there you are in an operational stage, then you say, okay, I need money. The boss will tell you, you can go back home because you don't see the strategic point of the whole project, right? Okay, why VM apply before RM? You can know, I already explained it. Okay, so this one, nothing much. Okay, when you talk about tactical, it's all there. I already explained. Okay, why is there more emphasis on RM at the tactical delivery phase? Of course, this is more people are involved in the project, more people are on the field, the likelihood of accident is very high. Where the VM is all paperwork. Paperwork, the likelihood of accident is low. All right. So another thing is RM, if you not analyze properly, accident will happen. Okay. So you can see that strategic risk, the nature and form that risk management activity will actually take will be quite different depending on its timing within the project cycle. So during the strategic phase, where the brief is being developed, project risk is not characterized by numerous tangible risks involved or event that threaten project performance. The type of which abound during the tactical phase, which structural risks have been a valuable role. Not true. With this statement, I don't think so. Because if you are during the strategic thinking process, developing the course, etc., if the person involved in the strategic phase, let's say for a project director who have many years of experience in doing construction project, he may have some input for this strategic phase in terms of preparing a budget, more generous. You can cut other things, but in terms of safety, they want to have more budget so that the safety aspect of the work site is always have no accident, right? So depend on the number of people or the quality of the people that the company recruit, right? Okay. So tactical risk, strategic phase of the project's life cycle end when the client value has been formed, right? That means you form a quality system, a schedule system, and a cost system. Value management has its major role to play at this time. And in the project life cycle, in understanding exactly what constitute value to the business from the project, what the project trying to achieve, what function does it fulfill, and how does it contribute to the client corporate objective, right? So value is where you think about how to achieve, when to achieve, okay? So continue, okay? Tactical risk, although modern thinking in project risk management formally emphasize on proactive, looking for opportunity to explore as part of the RM effort. In practice, tactical phase, delivery phase, is about minimizing the downside and achieving the identified TCQ goal. All right. So you do the value. After you do the value, then come to the tactical phase. You look at the RM and how to achieve the cost within the budget, safety within the standard that you want, all these things. Then you work out the detail. That's where your operational procedure policy is very important for the ground people to do the job. That reflected back to the strategic plan. All right. Without risk exposure, it's partly speculative. That means to say, if you don't have this risk, this risk exposure is partly speculative, because risk assessment during the project haven't started. It's all rely on the project team experiences. All right. So that's why they are called partly speculative and commercial. All right. So where the finance manager, they want to make profit, but for a project manager, they said, no, safety is more important. Then the risk exposure we have to reduce. So there is some sort of argument between the two teams. Okay. The tactical risk phase also involved in considerable hazard, threat present in the physical construction site. That is the operational procedure. That is those threat to safety, welfare of those direct and indirect worker. Okay. So you can see that the whole process of planning, you do strategic, you analyze a tactical way to handle the project. Finally, the operational way to make sure that the worker, the people do not have any injury, to make sure that the project run according to the strategic point of view. Okay, all these things. Oh. Okay. So this one, let you go and answer yourself. Okay, continue. Oh. Tactical phase comment at the design get underway. Okay, once the design team start doing all these things, then the tactical team will come in to look at the whole process, okay, the system, etc. Okay, so very important thing is what? Effectively coordinated, interrelated, must be coordinated control for the success of critical project challenges. Okay, if you look at the PMI, this is one of the important factors. We call it the interrelated activity that call for coordination and control of the whole project life cycle. Okay, then you have to establish who to control, what to control, all these things. Okay, so running a big project is not as easy as what you think. Oh, you all haven't gone through. I've gone through. I tell you, every day work until 10 p.m. Morning wake up around 7:30. I reach the workplace. I work until 10 p.m. Go back home. The time I'm 40 plus, I still drink. Go back home, I buy 2 bottles of Tiger beer, drink. Then I drunk a little bit. I go to sleep. Morning wake up, go again. Now you ask me to do this job, I'd rather give up. Okay, I'm enough already. Okay, so major source of construction project to have the most obvious, it's a risk-prone part of the project, is construction. All right, that's an operation, I told you. Okay, this will lead to many incident, accident, government coming, all these things. So you must able to control the risk in the work site. Then your project, your tactical goal and your strategic goal can meet. If your final line of operation cannot control, many accident, you know how much cost you're going to spend? Okay, someone may go jail, right? So take note of that. Okay, so the objective is basically time, budget, and the quality. That's all. In terms of managing a project, everything is the same. Okay, time, budget, and quality. But most important thing is, if you want to share the world, tell the world that you are a very good company, the safety record must be maintained. That means to say 0 accident, no injury. Then you show to the world that although you meet the time, budget, and the quality, but eventually your people are all safe and sound. Okay, and people will see you, company will see you. Okay, you are a good contractor company. They will open tender to you to ask you to do the job for them. Okay, very important. Safety standard drop. I can tell you in Singapore, it's very hard to get a job. Okay, especially company. Okay, so risk time and this cost and quality, right? So this one I have explained already. Good performance is achieved if time and quality are met, right? Cost met, and also safety objective are met. Here he left out the safety standard. Okay, with the time and cost parameter clearly readily measurable, understood the parameter of quality is not straightforward. It's an interpretation. Okay, quality there are many types. In construction side, you can say structural strength, tensile strength, compressive strength. For this building, the structure going to put up, is it sufficient to take the loading as expected? So all these things have to be calculated. The design engineer has to calculate the strength, the structure setup, and etc. Of course, they use computer to help them, right? So cost and risk and quality is there. You must meet this standard. Otherwise, your client will not pay you. Okay? Same, result. So when you talk about project, 3 things: risk, cost, quality, and also the people's safety must be there. Okay, okay. In terms of cost, okay, you meet the cost, you meet the timeline, or the quality fail, then you have to repeat the whole process again. Then that will waste money. Another cycle will be another cost, right? So you know. Okay. Okay. At what stage does low quality issue become objective and technical? You think about it. Okay, self-assessment, I leave it to you. I will prepare 1 or 2 questions on this paper. Okay, core reading. This book writer, chapter 6. You go into the internet, you can find some material on Rhys and construction project. Okay? So my explanation never stop. You all can understand. My friend, hello.
Sir.
I explain very clear, right? Or not clear?
Clear, sir.
So please read through. I will come up with a couple of questions on this paper. Then tomorrow or tomorrow night, Misma will send to you. Right? Then I will continue the lesson until next week. Monday, I'm on the 13th. I'm teaching you all. And 14, 15, 16, I'm not at home. I'm other place to teach students. I teach safety on this 14, 15, 16 every day, 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. 2 days like that. Then the third day I do training is 9 until at night 10 p.m. So I'm very tired. Every day teach and different subjects some more. Next week I'm teaching, they call it in safety requirement, they call it confined space safety assessor. I teach people how to become a confined space safety assessor. Now I'm teaching you to become a project manager. Okay. Then Sunday I'm teaching the university. The subject is business, Bachelor of Business Administration. Last week I teach them on operational management. So my schedule is all packed on teaching. I want to go outside work also cannot. Okay. So please read through again. This paper is good for you all. When you come out to work in the industry, you know what it's all about. The risk, what's it about value management process, and what is the strategic, tactical, and operational. All right. So by and large, you should be able to practice this when you go out to work in Singapore or in India or in anywhere else. Everything is the same. Okay, just that you never exposed. For me, I'm exposed to this type of job since I'm 28 years old. At that time, I was a project engineer, taking care of a small project, $20 million project. Okay, take me 18 months to complete. Then during the process of doing this job, the first time I exposed, so I do not know. Every time I got scolding from my boss. And I learned through the hard way. Not like you all, everything I'll give you already. On paper, you know. For me, no. I don't know. A lot of things I learned from the real workforce experience. I even write a project management paper during my bachelor degree in this environment engineering. How to manage an environment water treatment plant using this project cycle to manage. Okay, it take me about 3 months to to 4 months to finish the writing. That was in 1992, 91 or 92. Okay, you guys born already, 1991, 92. Oh, born already. Huh? Hello? Okay, Pen. No question?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
No question, sir.
No question.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I'll stop the slide. Okay, see you tomorrow. Maybe I don't have class. Miss Ma will inform you. No, I have a meeting there. Okay?
Okay, sir.